I've been living in Japan for 1 year now. It's been amazing, but not without its challenges. It's really scary to look at though. So I've gone and bought some local snacks and I thought I'd eat these while I talk about some of my biggest culture shock moments and struggles from the past year living in Japan. So this souvenir snack is called omiyage in Japanese, and these are some popular omiyage from both Osaka and Kyoto. So I thought we could do a bit of a battle of the cities between Osaka and Kyoto and see who has the better omiyage. Okay, I think we're going to start with Osaka. Takoyaki flavored jagariko. Osaka is very famous for its takoyaki, so it just seems fitting that they have takoyaki flavored omiyage. Jagariko are these super popular, super delicious potato chips that are in this very unique shape. Every flavor I've tried so far has been amazing, so I have no doubt this one's good too. It hasn't blown me away, but it does taste like takoyaki, which is pretty impressive. The first big culture shock in Japan has got to be the organization, which is something Japan is pretty well known for. One obvious example here is the train system. Trains are very rarely delayed, and Japan is pretty well known for that, but delays do happen. But the thing that really got me was how well they were coordinated when they did happen. So for example, there's a train that has been delayed for whatever reason. The train system will be coordinated in a way so that that train delay will not affect the other trains on that train line and in the train system overall. If you're unlucky to be on a delayed train, you might find that it gets even more delayed, but the sacrifice is for the greater good. And I thought that was a really cool system. Just how the way everything is coordinated. When I went to go pick up my driver's license, the center where it is done opens at 8 a.m. I think there's about 10 staffed windows, and at 8 a.m. they all open their blinds in sync and start serving people at 8 a.m. on the dot. If there is a traffic jam on the roads, the car in front of you will turn on their hazard lights when they realize that there's a traffic jam to let you know, and then you turn on your hazards to let the car behind you know. Stuff like that. It's just so nice. The weather forecast will also tell you whether you should do your laundry or not, so it'll tell you the likelihood of it drying so you can plan for the day ahead. Just super helpful. Okay, next we're gonna go with a Kyoto omiyage. Kushi warabi mochi kinoko aji. It's very cute. There were lots of different flavors for this one, but I just got kinoko, which is pretty stock standard. It's like the vanilla of ice cream. Is that mean? I don't know, it's not meant to be mean. I like vanilla. Oh my god, it's so cute. It's super tasty. It's like really chewy, and the outside is soybean flour, but it's got hints of cinnamon, so it's got a bit of a festive flavor, to be honest. Number 2, duality. Japan has this image of being futuristic and ahead of its time because of its technological advancements and cool toilets. But what surprised me the most was how often I would see and experience Japan both living in the future and preserving the past at the same time. You'd have these streets with these beautiful traditional houses lined with vending machines, and then you'd have cars passing by every now and then just to remind you that you're still in the 21st century. Also for Christmas, you eat KFC. But on the other hand, for New Year's, you have a very traditional feast and make a pilgrimage to a shrine for Hatsumode. You'll have restaurants that have robots as your waiter, or on the other side of the spectrum, you have these shops with old school arcades or selling vintage cameras that are still working. But I guess these things perfectly represent the society's efforts to both innovate but also preserve their traditions. But it also made me wonder, what happens in the event that tradition prevents you from innovating? Which trumps which? Back to an Osaka omiyage. This is mixed juice. Apparently it was designed in like Shinsekai, I think. Honestly, I was kind of like, mixed juice, whatever. But Kay, my husband, who is an Osaka local, said it was a very famous drink. So let's give it a shot. It is tasty. It tastes like mango and banana smoothie. I can't see how it's different from like a regular banana and mango juice, don't hate me. If there's a important point or like a special point about this that I'm missing, please let me know in the comments down below. It is tasty though. Culture shock number 3 is the Osaka culture of tsukomi. I'm based in Osaka, and here there's this type of humor called tsukomi, which is very different from Australian humor. From my understanding, it's basically like pointing out something absurd in a comical way. Is that correct? My husband is really into this like comedy duo thing called manzai, which involves this idea of tsukomi. I feel like he's low-key trying to recruit me to be like his partner for like this comedy duo, but it's so over my head. Australian humor is very self-deprecating and sarcastic. Tsukomi style of humor is just so different to that. I just can't wrap my head around it. How does one learn tsukomi? I completely zoned out and opened the next omiyage, which is this ice cream. This is the packaging that I just tore off. It's the Mo Uji Matcha flavored ice cream. I just fucking broke the spoon. Okay, take two. Dude, that looks so good. Look at that ice cream. Oh my God, this is so good. The matcha is just the right amount of matcha. It's not sweet and it is delicious. This is my favorite souvenir so far. It's so good. Number 4 was the humidity. I'm from Melbourne, Australia, which is at the bottom of Australia. So we don't have rainy season and the summer brings a very dry heat. So this is my first experience with a humid heat of this intensity. And I struggled. I assume I'll get used to it, but when I was leaving the house, I'd have to bring an extra shirt with me so that I could change halfway through the day, which for context, I've never had to do before in any kind of summer. So yeah, those kind of things just made me feel really self-conscious. But thanks to that, I discovered linen. I didn't know, but it's the kind of material that prevents you from smelling. Honest to God, wearing linen saved me this year. Also, mold. Like I never realized how big of a challenge mold could be. Honestly, it's something that I'd never thought twice about unless it was like in my food. But during rainy season, it can like get on your walls, it could get in your car, it can go like everywhere, especially if you've got like an old traditional Japanese house because they're generally built of wood. You really have to be careful to make sure all the windows are closed when it's raining to stop any excess humidity coming into the house. Yeah, it was just such a culture shock to realize, oh, what a big issue mold could be. Anyway, moving on to our next snack. This one. This is an Osaka limited edition karage senbei, and they are octopus and squid flavored. So these ones are squid and these ones are octopus. When we bought these, we were told that they go really well with alcohol. Dude, that's so good. So much flavor. Oh my God. The squid is not overpowering, but it adds this really nice like umami flavor. If you've ever had karage, it's got that kind of karage sauce flavor and the crunch. This is so good. That looks so good. Oh my God. This one's even better. This one's a little bit lighter on the sauce. A very light octopus flavor, not overpowering at all. And it just works so well. What the hell? This is my new favorite souvenir so far. This has beat the matcha ice cream. Culture shock number 5 is natural disasters. Melbourne, Australia, where I grew up, it doesn't really have like a typhoon or tsunami threat, and it very rarely has earthquakes. On the 8th of August this year, 2024, there was an earthquake just off the coast of Miyazaki, which triggered a nationwide alert to predicted earthquake called, I think it's called the Nankai Trough. I'm sorry, I don't know the technical terms here. It's predicted that in the next 30 years, there's going to be a really big earthquake in Japan. It was believed that this earthquake in Miyazaki could potentially trigger this large earthquake, or megaquake as they were calling it. And so the week following the Miyazaki earthquake was a little bit scary. The way it was being portrayed, it was a little bit apocalyptic. They were predicting a very high magnitude. And at that magnitude, it was like, is this building safe? I asked my husband, Kay. I don't know, he said. Maybe we'll get a couple of cracks in the walls. Huh? I don't know, but that just sounds so ominous to me as somebody that hasn't grown up in this country. In preparation, we bought like emergency supplies. The news was very much portraying this image of like, be ready in the event that something does happen. But everyone was so chill. It made me wonder, does growing up with this imminent threat of natural disasters make you come to terms with your own mortality? I don't know, I'm definitely not at that place yet. Everywhere I went, I was constantly thinking, okay, if the earthquake came now, where would I hide? What would I grab? Where's the closest exit? If I had a pet, what would happen to the pet? But yeah, after that week was up, it definitely felt like I could breathe again. But it is predicted that this megaquake is going to hit Japan some point in the next 30 years. So I guess that's something one needs to come to terms with if they want to live in Japan. Okay, moving on to this delight from Kyoto. These are rice crackers from a famous Kyoto shop that sells shimi, or like pepper. The smell. That is delicious. It's curry flavor.
It literally says curry right here on the package. How did I not realize this?
The aftertaste is a little bit spicy, but very manageable heat. So you know when you open a packet of rice crackers and you leave them out in the open for like a day and they get a little bit soft? That's the consistency, but it's intentional with these ones. Number 6, furusato noze, or hometown tax. I only found out about this recently, but you're telling me that I can pay my taxes to any prefecture in Japan, not just the one I'm residing in, and in return, they'll send you local gifts unique to that region? That's so cool. I haven't tried this yet, but if anyone has any recommendations or specific gifts that they really enjoyed, please let me know down in the comments. Next is this very popular omiyage from Osaka. If you're familiar with mitarashi dango, the dango sticks that are covered in like the gooey sweet soy sauce, these are pretty much the same thing except they're inverted. So the mochi is on the outside and the gooey sweet soy sauce is on the inside to prevent your hands from getting dirty. This is what it looks like on the inside. This is very good. A very close second to this one. Very yum. Number 7, why do watermelons have seeds in them, but mandarins don't? It's the opposite in Australia. Watermelon doesn't have seeds, but mandarins do. Number 8 is how creative Japanese TV commercials are.
Long
I'm picturing like a bunch of Japanese salarymen discussing the best way to make the most unhinged commercial about candy. Yeah, I'd love to be a fly on the wall in those meetings. If anyone has experienced what it's like designing or coming up with these commercial ideas, I'd love to know. So let me know down in the comments. I'm super curious about what these brainstorming sessions are like. How do people come up with these ingenious and memorable ideas? Number 9, the size of the wasps. Number 10, noodle slurping and how hard it is. Oh, you're so good at it. Number 11 is the impacts of an aging population on rural and regional areas of Japan. This is obviously an extremely complex and nuanced topic, and I'm by no means an expert on this matter, and I've only been here for a year. I can only talk about what I've personally seen and how it's impacted me. I think one of the things that I wasn't expecting was how many akiya, or vacated houses, I'd see. While we were on the small island in Nagasaki, Goto, we met a lady who lives on her own in a very beautiful but very large traditional Japanese house. Most of her children had moved to larger cities for better opportunities. So as a result, she was alone in this large house, unable to drive and very isolated. Unfortunately, that was not the only story like hers that we heard while we were there. These women and their stories really stuck with me, and it really gave a face to the issue that I had read about online. And obviously I don't know what the solution is here or what can be done, if anything. But while I was in Goto, I did see that there was a few people moving from larger cities with their families to Goto to build a new life there. So I don't know, maybe there is hope, who knows. And the lucky last snack is this beautiful omiyage from Kyoto. These are famous traditional Japanese mochi. They're in the shape of triangles and they've got stuff inside. This specific one has matcha flavor and cinnamon flavor at the top. Ooh. This is what they look like. It's got kinako or soybean flour on the outside. You can taste the matcha straight away. It's got red bean paste inside. Very similar again. I really like the cinnamon mochi flavor, but I think the matcha goes better with the red bean paste inside, personally. But these are like the Kyoto omiyage. And number 12, trust. Japan is revered as one of the safest countries in the world, but it actually feels safe. It feels like there's a level of respect and honesty among the people as a society as a whole. I often see people leave their belongings at like a table in a public restaurant to like reserve their seat. I obviously can't recommend this behavior because there's always a risk with it, even in Japan, but it's crazy how much I've witnessed it here. Similarly, when we went to Kifune Shrine in Kyoto, you can buy a fortune slip, but there's no person selling the fortune slips. So you just put the money in a little box that's right there, and then if you need change, you can take your change yourself. It's a very trust-based system. There's also this thing called a mujin ichiba, which is a thing in rural Japan where there will be a market stall on the side of the road with no people there. If you take something, you pay for it and you leave the money there. But unfortunately, it does feel like once the trust is broken in certain situations, it can be gone forever. I think a couple of years ago, somebody went to a conveyor belt sushi and they licked the communal soy sauce and uploaded that to social media, which is how they got discovered. But now, nobody is allowed to film in sushi conveyor belt restaurants across the country. Another example is the fact that the cameras on Japanese phones will always make a shutter sound when you take a photo, even if the phone is on silent mode. This is actually a legal mandate designed to protect people's privacy and to prevent any unsolicited photos from being taken. It's obviously really sad when one person ruins a good thing for everyone. But it's honestly so cool to be able to explore a country and have moments where you're so pleasantly surprised by the trust and the honesty of the people living there. It's, yeah, I just feel really grateful to be in a position to do that. But anyway, it is time to decide the winner between the Osaka and Kyoto omiyage. I really liked the Kyoto ice cream, matcha ice cream, and these bad boys were delicious. But I have to say, the Osaka senbei and these mitarashi dangos stole my heart. Therefore, I'm gonna have to crown Osaka the winner today. Could you please try these and tell me whether you think Osaka or Kyoto has better omiyage?
みたらし小餅美味しいね。
Oh yeah, it's good, isn't it?
ちょっともう一個食べようか。
You have to eat the other ones too.
今回のお土産対決は大阪の勝利。
If you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you like this kind of content. I make videos like this about culture, but also like Japan vlogs and travel guides. If you have any insights to any of these things that I've been talking about today, go crazy in the comments. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one.
はい、OK です。
ね、結ってないやん。
これがツッコミ